Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. Today's exciting episode is beading. It's actually the first of my Make 9. So last month I did my Make 9 and most of them are fabrics. So there's some absolutely gorgeous tweeds and Liberty of London cotton prints. And so I'm going to make dresses out of them and jackets out of the tweeds, obviously. But there was also on the left there a jacket that I really want to bead. So let's get to it and start making my first Make 9 for 2024. It's perfect. Perfect jacket. So I bought this tweed, gosh, it must have been at least 5 years ago, from Mood Fabrics in New York City. And if you want to see the episode where I actually make the jacket, then I'll put a card up the top or a link below in the description box. But basically the way it's woven with the different colors appearing in different what looks like lines, it just reminded me of vintage knits. And yeah, so I just thought it would be interesting to bead it so that it looks even more like obviously I know that the patterns are knitted into the knits. But I just thought I wanted to do the beading so that it looks, this one in particular, so that it looks like one of those vintage knits. I absolutely adore them and I don't have any vintage knits and I can't knit. So I was like, okay, well, I'll bead a jacket to look like that. So that was my idea. I also love those ones with the rings around the neck and the cuffs. But yeah, this one is just going to be obviously horizontal stripes across. So here we have the jacket. And after I've made the jacket, I was in two minds. I was like, should I do a classic vintage style beading that's sort of quite muted, I guess, with small expensive beads, like these are faceted ones and they've got a sort of electroplating over the top. And so they're really quite fancy. But on the left, then I've got these animal beads. They're in the correct colors, but they're like big blocks and big plastic beads, or these classic sort of heavy small glass ones. So overall, they are the same weight. So that's why the jacket has a certain amount of structure. So these are the choices. So the different designs will weigh the same, but they're just going to look completely different. Like one is all, yay, wow, a little bit Hello Kitty, whereas the other one is very vintage and muted and classic. So I thought for a while, I thought about sort of mixing the two of them together. So mixing the large plastic beads and the little bits of fruit, like the dragon fruit and the grapes all together. But then I thought, no, I'll just do the muted colors, the classics. And I thought about doing a few large beads in there as well and like sort of completely filling each of the oatmeal sort of lines, but I don't know, I don't like the big beads in there, so I took those off and I just started doing just single lines. So it's just more classic. This is my little sample section. Even if I liked this, I would have continued, and I decided I liked it. So then I just got the beads out and I reshuffled them. As I said, I was thinking about using larger beads as well, but yeah, at this point I was like, no, I think I'll just use the quite small glass ones that are relatively expensive. So compared to some of the bigger plastic ones. And yeah, so I do have those little oval faceted ones. They are plastic, but these ones are glass. The multifaceted ones, it's like a disco ball, but in a blush color, champagne blush color. And then we've got the sort of champagne beige. And I just think they look absolutely gorgeous together. And they catch the light and reflect it or refract it really beautifully. And then I have these ones because it's obviously three main colors: the beigey rose color, or champagne, and then the green, and then that magenta-y pinky purple color. I like those first two square sort of tile shaped beads better, but I suspect I'll probably have to use the round ones because the specks of magenta in the actual tweed, when the way it's woven, they're not that big. And I think the tile ones might be too big, might sort of blur the design. I'll probably try the tile ones, but I may have to settle for the regular seed beads. But for now, I also have some jade ones. They're faceted beads, like those beautiful ones at the top of the screen. They're actually quite small and quite light, like a 6mm bead that's round and a 6mm bead that's faceted. The faceted one weighs less because they basically, to facet it, you just cut off all the edges and make, So yeah, I just thought I'd add some jade. They're actually glass beads in a jade colour, but I thought I'd add them so that I have the beauty of these ones, but I also have the added weight of the jade ones, and it makes the whole piece look more green overall. So yeah, I think I will proceed by finishing all the beige ones and all the green ones. And I'm using the darker green mostly on the back, and then the lighter and the mid sort of dark jade ones on the front, just because I prefer the look of the lighter ones and the mid ones. There is a sort of mauve colour in the tweed, and I do have some sort of dusty rose mauve coloured pearls, so they might make an appearance, but they might not. Okay, so I decided I like the sample and I did a few more rows. Now it is time to dethrone the Egyptian tweed, get that off the mannequin and carefully put it on the coat hanger on the rack, and put this on the mannequin, and we'll see what it looks like from far away. So yeah, it's very subtle, isn't it? The pink pinned bit, they're the inside front of the lining, so they're just two bits of tweed, and just sort of, it's easier to work with them if they're pinned up. So this is the side, and now the back. I like it. It's very subtle, but I think you'll be able to see it more and more once I do a few more layers. But in general, yeah, I think I like it. And I did a little bit at the top, so you'll be able to see what it's going to look like going round, and it's pretty much same. I also did a little bit of the green because I got sick of working with beige. And with this thread, the thread that I used was too dark. It's fine for the back because I ended up using a few more of the darker ones. But from then on, I changed the thread that I use on the green, and I've got a really light jade one and a mid green, and I've used a combination of them, whereas at the start I was using a dark and a mid. So yes, I like these, and I'm just so I ended up using one whole strand because, as I said, I've got 10 strands, and I just wanted to see how far I will get. So obviously every second one is one of the jade beads, and every second one is one of those tiny faceted ones. But I got pretty far. I did a few lines on the cuffs because the line doesn't have to go right round the sleeve. It's just sort of 2/3 of it. So I actually got quite a lot out of one strand, which is good. So it helped me calculate the coverage of the whole piece. And it means that I can cover more green lines than I thought. Like, I thought I was going to have to do sort of every second green line, but I think I'm going to get every major green line plus a couple of the secondary green lines, which is cool. So this is what I have. It doesn't look like much. Normally, in the Desperately Seeking Susan month, I worked with some really big beads, and these are sort of the opposite end of the spectrum. They're very tiny. So it's been a little bit difficult sort of working out how many I will need and how much coverage I'll get out of the ones that I have, because I'm just using up my bead collection. I'm not running out and buying more things. These are beads that are years and years or decades old. I don't think I could find the same one anyway. So yeah, it's a bit of a balance, but I'm just sort of working out which ones, and is there going to be enough to do this whole particular ring around the torso and the matching 2 bits on each sleeve? So yeah, as you can see, I did a little bit more work. It just takes so long. It doesn't look very impressive, but it takes such a long time. So now at this point, there's more green filled in at the bottom. The upper, like the chest area is still a bit, the bust area needs more work. But yeah, I like it. There's different patterns in some of the rows, and some of the rows of the green are plainer. That's just because the jade beads I have, there's only a certain number of each size, so I have to do these kind of intricate patterns to use up the ones that I have, because there's like only 3 of one or 5 of one, and I'm like, okay, well, if I sort of scale them up and then scale them down again, so it's just these ridiculous patterns that end up looking like Morse code or something, because I only have a certain number of each size bead. So anyway, it was amusing me because you have to do it so slowly. You can work out these quite intricate patterns. I suppose that's what they do with knitting too. They just kind of get bored and make up these more intricate patterns. So in that respect, it's quite in line with the whole vintage knitting theme of the piece. So then I think this is the last bit of footage I filmed that day, and I just you can sort of see which bits I decided I was going to work on next. I need more at the top and a few more at the bottom, and also I do need to do more on the sleeves, but it's very easy to work out how much I'll need for each sleeve, whereas it's better to work on the torso and then just set aside beads for the corresponding piece on the sleeve, and that way I can sort of work out the whole piece. So that's what I've been doing, and I think this is the footage that I filmed this morning, but of all the work that I've done so far. So you can see there's a bit more work at the top. Those front ones, the topmost green ones that I've done, are quite difficult because the neckline was tricky to work with, and I worked on the matching piece across the sleeve and then up on the back as well. Just incredibly slow, this work, compared to the ones with the big beads, and you do have to sew a big bead on, like secure it more times. So generally I secure a big bead 3 times, whereas these small beads I secure twice. But oh my goodness, each of these beads is like stitched on once, then stitched on again, and then you measure to where the next bead is and you go there, and yeah, it just takes forever. But I am getting there. These are all the beads that I have left to do, and I'm kind of determined to use them all up, so that would be interesting. I think I'll just do all the corresponding bits on the sleeves, and I think I'm going to have a little bit left over, just a safety net, and I think I'll use them on the undersleeves. So I'm not sure how much is going to be on the undersleeves. I'm more concerned about the upper sleeves and the whole of the torso. So I think I will just work on this all day, and then I might film it at the end of the day. But I think you've seen enough of the green and beige beads. You can see in the chest area I've clearly done one side but not the other, so it's kind of obvious which bits I have to fill in. So I'm going to do all the green and beige, and then I'll be back. And yeah, I'm not even sure if I want magenta, but I'll do all these and then we'll see how it goes from there. Oh, bless. I'm always so optimistic about the amount of sewing time I'm going to be able to carve out for myself. So I did do a little bit more of the green and beige, but as you can see, I also got out some green seed beads, and I made smaller green rows because I just felt there was still too much white in there, even though I'd done all these beige beads and green rows of beads, because you sort of, by necessity, you have to do little breaks in between them, or spaces in between them. And it just, yeah, I wasn't loving it. So then I did these smaller green rows. They're sort of, the weave is green, beige, green, beige. And so I went over each of the beige bits. So it just looks like a solid green line now. And I love this. I love this so much. I'm thinking about going back over the green lines and putting a seed bead between each one, but that could take years. So I think we'll just do the primary green lines with the jade green and the small faceted ones, and then these secondary green lines with the seed beads and the faceted ones. So as you can see, I've started the one at the top of the screen. I've started that row and I ran out of thread, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll catch you up. So I'm just sort of working my way up, and I've done some more. And so, yeah, it's just, this work is just so ridiculously slow. But as you can see, I did a bit more work. And yeah, it's I really think you need those secondary smaller lines to sort of fill it in a bit. But I did a bit more of the beige and a bit more of the green, and it's just like these small layers, one on top of the other. It's like doing a Monet painting, you know, the Impressionist paintings with like thousands and thousands of dots. As you're doing it, you're like, this is just one tiny thing. It's not even going to amount to anything. But once you work on it, you know, layer upon layer upon layer, it starts to take shape. So it's starting to take shape, and it is looking like I wanted it to look like a vintage knit, and I wanted it to be really classic, but I also wanted it to be very bling in a sort of a classic way. And yeah, I'm not sure I've got the right words to describe it yet, but it is shaping up to be what I wanted it to be. But I do think those secondary lines will be important. As you can see, I haven't really done this much on the sleeves. I have filled in a bit more of the sleeves, but I thought I'd focus on the front, and I've done a little bit more on the back, but not heaps. And here I'm showing you the difference between the blank sleeve and the beaded jacket, so you can tell when you see the two contrasted together. It's going to be so pretty. I love it. This is what I've got left. You can sort of tell that I've used a lot, but I've still got so many left. Oh my gosh, it's just ridiculously slow doing such tiny beads. But I don't know, the thing I like about my collection of jackets is the diversity, like they're all so different. So those 3 bags were the ones that I showed you before, and I've got out these other 2 bags as well. So I'll just get out some samples. So these are the 3 I showed you about what I was thinking for the magenta. It's the 2 tiles in 2 different shades, and then the round seed beads. So these are the I was thinking the lighter of the 2 tiles plus the round seed beads in the darker colour. But now I'm thinking the lighter of the 2 tiles plus these lighter seed beads, because, and I've also got these sort of dark rose pearls. They're actually glass pearls. So it's a heavy glass bead with a pearlized finish on it. So I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to finish the beige and the green first, because I'm not entirely convinced it needs a 3rd colour. I think I would like it, but I don't know. I think it feels more classic to just have 2 colours. I'm really not sure. I'll have to finish it. I like the secondary green lines. They make it feel like the magenta in the piece is more integral, because at the moment I don't know. I mean, I like it, but yeah, I'm not sure. I have to finish the beige, the green and the secondary greens, and then I'll make decisions. So that is it for this video. But those mid-green, the lighter of the 2 sort of magenta colours, that one does look delightful. So yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards at the moment. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you've been inspired to do some beading. Maybe use slightly bigger beads. These ones are so tiny. Anyway, Thanks again for watching. I will, once it's finally finished, I will show you the finished piece, but I don't know, I feel like this one's going to take me a while. Anyway, thanks again for watching and happy sewing.